Hey, Stone Coast. Good to see you during the week. I love doing this because I feel like we come together on Sundays, and sometimes it's good. We get kind of like emotionally charged and renewed, but then during the week we kind of get back into the routines of life, and we kind of forget to put into practice the very things that we talked about. And I'm really excited because we're in a series called Why Are We Here? And it's like the heartbeat of who Stone Coast is. And I'm really excited about sharing. So I'm hoping that we can take some of the teachings and then put them into practice more consistently. Especially this one. We talked about how, what is our purpose? So the name of the teaching was Live Your Purpose to Make the Most Out of Life. And we've been talking about the idea of God's love. We talk about the importance of loving your neighbor, using your gifts to make a difference, things like that. And a lot of times people are so confused about this idea, like, why am I here and what is my purpose? People feel a lot of times like they don't lead a life of significance. Maybe they've missed out on their opportunity. The window has passed. Those are all lies. But a lot of us walk around feeling a little bit empty, a little bit like, I'm not quite sure what my purpose is. And I hope that on Sunday I really helped you with that, because oftentimes our purpose is right here in front of us, but we're waiting for this grandiose thing to happen, the aha moments. And I'm telling you, it's the small things. It's the things that we do on a daily basis that is our purpose. When we talk about loving our neighbor, the heartbeat of that is why Jesus Christ came to the earth, to die for the other, to serve the other, to give his life to the other. And so that's your purpose. Your purpose is laid out before you. If you're in a family situation, it's the people that you're with on a regular basis, whether it's at work, in your neighborhoods, activities that you do. Anytime you're with the other, there's an opportunity to live out your purpose, because God has uniquely wired you and gifted you in a certain way to notice certain things, to be who you are, to add value to the other. And so don't get caught up in trying to figure out this grand scheme. I think that it's an unfolding of the daily things that are right there in front of you. So grab hold of those things. Oftentimes we diminish the small things that can go a long way because we don't necessarily see the results of those small acts of kindness that we do consistently. So the first point that I talked about, it was 2 points. One was this idea of living life fully for Christ. One life, live it, right? One life. We get one chance at this thing called life. And the reason why I love this is because there's a sense of urgency that goes into it, because we're not promised tomorrow. And oftentimes we're waiting to see what tomorrow brings. And I'm telling you, tomorrow never comes with that approach. It's seizing the moment in today. Today is the gift from God. He's putting people in your life, and it's what you will do. Will you add value today? Will you see the needs of the people around you today and then do something about it? It's that simple, right? It really is that simple. But there's a verse in Psalm 90. It's one of my life verses. It says, teach us to number our days aright, O Lord, that we might gain a heart of wisdom. And the verse means so much to me because there's a sense of urgency, right? That we don't know when we're going to die. We don't know how much time we have left on earth. So while you have it, live it fully. Don't live with regrets. Don't live stuck in your past. Live fully immersed in today and all of the challenges of the today, the opportunities of today, the blessings of today, the turmoil of today. You know, your life doesn't have to be going great to be living a life of purpose. Sometimes we have to make ourselves get out of ourselves so that we can see the person beside us. And if you'll do that, God will show up. God shows up in the mundane. God shows up in the little things of life. And oftentimes we miss it just because we're waiting for that grand thing tomorrow. So that was the first point. And in that, there's this idea of teaming up with God, because God is already up to many, many things all around us. So it's just connecting into what he's already doing. And it's interesting because with his first disciples, he simply said this, come and follow me. And so that's a simple thing, right? Say yes to God today. What would Jesus do if he were you today? And the disciples decided that. They left what they knew. They left their comfort zones to take on the great adventure, what Jesus had for them. And that's no different for us in 2017. And then the second thing we talked about was to listen to your holy discontent. And what I mean by that is, I stole that from Bill Hybels, a pastor from Willow Creek Church in Chicago. He talks about your holy discontent, those things that you are passionate about. It's not the person next to you. The things that you see that are wrong in the world, the things that bother you deeply. God's looking at you and saying, what will you do about it? Instead of just complaining about it and wishing someone else would do something about it, he's saying, this bothers you for a reason. I put this discontent in your heart, in your spirit, so that you would rise up. And I use the example of Moses in Scripture. If you don't know the story, Moses was abandoned as a child, right? And he was raised by the Pharaoh, and he was raised in the Egyptian palace. But he was an Israelite. He was a Hebrew. And he watched his people as a child growing up, he watched his own people be enslaved and mistreated and abused. And it bothered him greatly, so much so that when he was a young adult, he saw an Egyptian taking advantage of a fellow Hebrew, and he got so mad that he killed the guy. I mean, he was moved to the point of killing this guy and murdering him. And obviously that's not a good thing, but it just shows that there was a passion in him. And so God later on said, I can use this guy. I can even take what was awful and I can use it for good. And that's what sometimes you've got to be so disgusted and upset about something because you need enough energy to get out of the routines of life so that when you wake up, you are so passionate that no matter what comes your way, you are going to do what's in front of you. And it's going to be a grind. And you have to just keep grinding and grinding and grinding because life is just going to keep hitting you. But those that are filled with zeal and passion, they get knocked back, they get knocked down, but they get back up because the cause matters to them. And they do something about it. And that's what I want out of us. When you see that need, go out and do something about it. And God will show up because he's already in that thing. He's already there. And you get to team up with him. That's your purpose. So go and live it out, Stone Coast. I'm so proud of you. I'm excited about what God has for us in our future. And just simply go for it. All right, we'll see you next Sunday.